In today's episode, I bring you two mini cases from the state of Florida. The first one is a wife's disappearance that turned into a murder investigation. And the second one is, you're not even going to believe it, a mother who got annoyed with her toddler and did something that I honestly, I would have never even thought somebody would do. But I've been doing this show for so long, I should not be surprised. Anyway, let's get into it. Welcome, lambs. Welcome to Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide, your Florida Man Friday edition. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kai, and I invite you to listen to this episode, and if you like it, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any other true crime episodes. If you're a returning lamb, thank you so much for gracing me with your presence and continuing to follow Love and Murder. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. If you want to be an exclusive lamb and be a sponsor of Love and Murder, help out the show, then head on over to patreon.com/Love and Murder and become a lamb over there, get bonus episodes, have a great community, and so much more. Let's get into the episode that you came here for. So the first case is of a missing wife whose disappearance then turned into a murder investigation. On November 10th, 2022, 39-year-old Mimose Dulcio was last seen at her house in central Broward, Florida. Mimose's family was trying to reach her all day. They hadn't heard from her all day, and they hadn't gotten an answer from her for over 10 hours. They had seen her the day before. They knew she had gotten home, and that was the last time they heard from her. This is not normal of Mimose, as she keeps in constant contact with her family, so being out of touch for 10 hours was something that they were not used to. They went to her house, they went in, and they looked around. That's when they saw some disturbing stuff. So first of all, they saw there were broken windows. They saw there was a sign like of a struggle, so maybe like furniture thrown all over the place, something. And they didn't find Mimose herself. In continuing to look around, they did find a phone that was smashed and it had been between the couch cushions, and they found her credit cards, which were like cut up. Quote, "I bust through her door. She's not there. We looked around. We just can't find Mimose. Two of her phones, they were broken, bent, and they're shattered. And that's not like her to leave any of her devices because of what she's currently going through." They also looked at the TV, which was smashed, and they saw on the TV there were specks of blood. So that's when they decided definitely to call 911. Then 2 days later, November 12th, a missing persons alert was issued for Mimose. As investigators looked through her disappearance, they turned their attention to her husband, Jose. So one of her family members did mention she was currently going through something, which is why she wouldn't have left any of her devices just, strewn around or without her. And what she was going through was a divorce from her husband, 36-year-old Jose Luis Pacheco. And the reason why they were getting a divorce is because the marriage was a tumultuous one, where there was a lot of arguing, there was a lot of fighting. I'm not saying definitely physical fighting, but there was a lot of arguing, there was a lot of fighting, so they were getting a divorce. So that's why Mimose's family member knew that she wouldn't have had her devices without her, just in case she needed to call her family, ask for help or whatever. Also, Mimose's sister, Samita, when she had gone to the house to check to see where Mimose is, she found Jose there. She asked Jose where her sister was. He didn't have any answer for her. They ended up getting into an argument because she was like, "What do you mean you don't know where she is?" Because even though they were going through a divorce, they did live in the same house together still. They actually got into a verbal altercation, and then instead of appearing concerned as to where Mimose was, or trying to help find her, or even give an answer to say she went to the grocery store or anything, why is all this stuff broken in the house? Anything, he just jumped in his car and drove off. Samita also offered a statement to the police, which they put down saying, quote, "Samita Dulcio stated that she had been checking on the victim on a daily basis because of the problems she had been having with Jose Pacheco." Also in police reports, the sister told police that the couple had been married for about 18 months, but that Mimose had just signed the divorce paperwork on November 9th. They also told them that this was actually Mimose's house, but Jose was staying there because he was trying to save up enough money to move out. And she just didn't feel comfortable with him staying at the house, but she felt like she had no choice. So with all of this, like I said, police went to talk to Jose. Jose told police that he hadn't seen Mimose for several days. And he also told police what they already knew: they were getting a divorce. So police took what Jose said at face value, but they were still suspicious of him. They obtained a search warrant for the house and the car, which the couple shared. And according to Broward County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Gertie St. Louis, quote, "Through investigative methods, a search warrant was obtained for the couple's home and shared vehicle. During the search, investigators found evidence that suggested Dulcio had been murdered in the couple's home and that her body had been transported in the couple's shared vehicle and disposed of in an unknown location. You piece of trash. She was letting you stay in the house. She wasn't kicking you out because, look, I gotta tell you, if we're getting a divorce, deuces. I mean, it is what it is. You need to save up money. Should have thought about that before whatever it was you did. Because if we're getting a divorce, obviously it's your fault, right?" So she was letting you stay in the house to save up money for you to move out, and you murdered her? Well, allegedly, because we haven't figured out if it was him or an invasion, home invasion. But, you know, he didn't act like he was much worried about people coming in and stealing anything. So all signs point to him. And, you know, as I'm reporting this, I'm looking at Jose's mugshot, and the way he's just in his mugshot, it just, ooh. His smug, oh my God, it's angering me. I can't look at him while I'm doing this. On November 14th, Jose was arrested in Miami and charged with second-degree murder because they haven't found the body, but they found signs of something happened. So they charged him with second-degree murder. And he was held without bond while the investigation continued. Quote, "Right now, no one knows where her body is. Unfortunately, this case took a turn for the worse." Samita said, quote, "She is going through something with an individual, and I don't take these words lightly. I am going to call him a monster." She also exposed that in recent days, Mimose had actually been trying to get Jose out of the house, and she'd been trying to get an emergency restraining order against him. But at that point in time, Florida was going through Hurricane Nicole, so the courthouse was closed and everything was being delayed because, you know, they're going through a hurricane. At least that's the issue in this case. Usually it's, oh, they're shuffling their feet. They're not giving us permission. You know, they're saying it's a domestic problem. We can't help. So at least is that they were going through a hurricane and the offices were closed. Then on November 16th, a body was found in a remote area of northwest Miami-Dade. News reports went out saying that a body was found, but, you know, obviously they weren't saying who it was at first. But when they went and took it to a medical examiner's office, they did release this statement. Quote, "The body was located following a missing person homicide investigation into Dulcio's disappearance. What we would have wanted was to find Mimose alive and well. However, that was not the case. We hope with the fact that we have made an arrest in this case that it brings some sort of justice to the family." Once they found Mimose's body, Jose's charge was then upgraded to first-degree murder, to which he pled no contest to. However, he ended up changing that plea to guilty after Judge Frank Liddy refused to accept his no contest plea. That's what I'm saying, Judge, because I would be like, excuse me, I didn't hear that. Did you say no contest to something that clearly you did? I'm not sure. Can you repeat that again? Because if I heard no contest, what I translated that to is life in prison. So come again. So Jose was like, yeah, I plead guilty, Your Honor. Guilty. Yeah. They also put forth a plea deal, which was primarily for the family's benefit. They were thinking to have the family avoid reliving the trauma of losing their sister, so they didn't want to go through trial. Samita said, quote, "We don't want to relive the trauma. We don't want to see photos of the body you tried to bury. That's the only reason why we took this plea deal. You're a monster, murderer, manipulator, a narcissist, and you don't deserve to live. You need to suffer because Mimose did not deserve what you did to her." Look, That's the sentiment I got when I was looking at his mugshot, the narcissist part. That's why it was angering me. Oh my God. I'm going to post this mugshot. Obviously, Patreon lambs, you already know you got it. But I'm going to go ahead and post it in the Facebook group also. And let me know if when y'all see it, you just want to punch this guy in the face when you see his, I just, ugh. Especially this is your mugshot. And this is how smug you're looking in your mugshot. Like, ugh, after you murdered somebody. After you murdered your wife. Other family members echoed what Samita had said, with Mimose's brother Enel saying, quote, I hope one day when all this is done, you look back and feel the strain of your actions. We don't want to see the photos of her body. He continues on, agreeing with his sister, quote, we don't want to see the photos of the body you tried to bury. That's the only reason we took this plea deal. On November 14th, 2023, Jose was sentenced to 55 years in prison with a minimum of 30 years to be served, becoming eligible for release. So what is he, 36? So if he's released on parole, he will be like 60, 66, something like that. I can't remember exactly how old he is. Yeah, he was 36. So I think when this happened, he was 37. He'll be 67. So no, depending on your physical health and everything, you can still lead a good life at 67. So hopefully he ends up serving his entire 55 years in prison. Jose, the smug that he is, was given a chance to speak during the hearing, but he remained silent because, his face is annoying me. Quote, Jose may not feel the impact, but for the family, it meant the world. And that is the case of how this narcissistic, manipulative, whatever else the sister called him, Jose, murdered his wife of only 18 months. And if you wanted to see any pictures or videos from this case, then go ahead and join our Patreon, patreon.com/love and murder. At only the $3 a month donation tier, you do get case extras. So let's get into the next case. This one is going to make me blow my lid. Like, yeah. Let me just give you like a synopsis of this. Child left bleeding on road after she spilled shampoo and angered her driving mother. Yeah. On September 5th, 2023, a 29-year-old Florida mother named Tasshay Chelsea Mills allegedly pushed her 1-year-old daughter out of a moving car in a suburb of Miami. You heard me. 29-year-old woman pushed her 1-year-old child out of a moving freaking car. Why did she do this? I mean, there's literally no reason as to why she would do this, but let's get into her reasoning. Why did she do this? She said, basically, there was an argument with a freaking 1-year-old over, quote, spilled shampoo, which then made Tasshay angry. And then she leaned back when she's supposed to be paying attention to the road, hit her child, unbuckled her, because I'm just assuming at least she had her buckled in. Let's just assume that. But being that you pushed the child out the car, I have a feeling you didn't have her buckled in anyway. So let's just say lean back, hit her, unbuckled her, opened the frickin' door, and pushed her child out of the car and drove the frick away. This was around 8:30 p.m. while they were on like, it wasn't a highway, but like, more of it. You know how you have that one busy street in your area, or more than one, but you know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't call it a highway, but it's a busy road. That's where this mother skunt did that. She did it in front of multiple people, so multiple witnesses saw this, and of course ran to help the child and called 911. Again, can you imagine Kai witnessing something like this? Can you imagine? Oh my God. Anyways, witnesses reported that once they got the girl, they noticed she was bleeding from her head and appeared disoriented. She is freaking 1 year old. One witness said that she was, quote, more in shock than anything when she saw the child lying on the road. Because, yeah, you would be. That's not something you would ever think about. While all these witnesses are helping the child, being in shock, calling 911, the commotion that's going on. I want to call this woman out her name so bad. I want to call her out her name so bad. This woman, Tasshay, made a U-turn and returned to the scene. Then, in a moment captured on somebody's Ring camera, she forcibly snatched her daughter from the arms of this one person. And you can hear on the video the person saying, quote, "I'm not giving you this baby." And then Tasshay says, "That is my baby," before snatching the child and walking away with her. Then the witness calls for help, saying, quote, she didn't say frickin', but she freaking snatched the baby out of my hands. Again, Kai would have been in jail because I'm not letting you walk away with that child. You would have had to beat me down. Do you understand? You would have had to beat me down to walk away with that child. Now, I did tell you that the baby, the 1-year-old, was bleeding from the head and looking disoriented, so she could have had a concussion. What do you think Tasshay did? She fled the scene and didn't go to any hospital. When police arrived, multiple witnesses told them what happened, and this started a 15-hour search looking for this 1-year-old. They also issued a Florida missing child alert in hopes of finding her. However, they canceled the alert when police found Tasshay in Miramar, Florida, which was just 30 minutes away from where all this happened. But the child was not with her. They did find the child in Opelika. Is that how it's pronounced? Which was actually closer to where the event happened. So it appears that she possibly dropped the child off somewhere at somebody's house in Opelika and then went on to Miramar. So when police found the child, she was taken immediately to Jackson Health North for evaluation. And according to those medical reports, the child did sustain injuries from the fall. The child still had gravel embedded in her skin, and she had difficulties breathing. So wherever she dropped this child off at, why didn't they take her to the hospital? 15 hours? It was 15 hours. Why didn't they take her to the hospital? Okay, I would be looking into those people too, because unless they can give me a good excuse, this is crazy. She had gravel in her skin and she was having problems breathing and she's just chilling in Opelika. Anyways, as you can imagine, Tasshay was arrested and beaten within an inch. I'm sorry. My imagination again, just sorry. Tasshay was arrested and faced charges for child abuse and neglect. The police did exactly what they were supposed to do. Kai was just going off in her imagination what she would do. This is why I'm not a police officer. I would have actually tacked on attempted murder. Like, wouldn't you have? You pushed a 1-year-old out the car. Isn't that like considered attempted murder? Vehicular manslaughter? Like any kind of, I don't know, road rage? There are other options that you could have put in. I wouldn't have just done child abuse and neglect. To me, personally. Anyway, she went to a bond hearing where Circuit Court Judge Mindy S. Glazer set her bond at $75,000. During the hearing, the judge found out that this wasn't the first time that Tasshay had a brush with the law, which, I'm not really shocked at. Court records showed that she had prior arrest for theft, assault, and probation violation. So she's just an all-around asshole. She is currently ordered to stay away from her daughter as she awaits further proceedings. Hialeah police officer Scarlett Hernandez expressed disbelief at the situation, saying, quote, "You cannot just toss or even by mistake let a child fall out of a car. This is very serious, and again, we're talking about life or death here. That's what I'm saying. Why did y'all not charge her with attempted murder?" Authorities are now working with the state attorney's office to determine whether further charges against Tasshay should be tacked on, and the child remains under the care of the Florida Department of Children and Families. Yes, listen to my podcast, authorities who are working on this case. You should tack on attempted murder, vehicular attempted manslaughter or something like that. Is this the first instance of child abuse? But I highly doubt that. Did you go from 0 to 150, never showing your child any abuse and then throwing them out of a car? I highly doubt that. How many people around her knew about the child abuse? Because if she dropped this child off in Opelika and these people were like, oh, Tassay's at it again. Okay, the baby will get over this one. Why did the child not go to the hospital in 15 hours? Maybe I'm just being too overprotective of the baby. Maybe we shouldn't really put it on the other people. I don't know. You tell me, am I wrong? Am I going too overboard with this? But I can't believe this complete bitch, threw her 1-year-old baby out of a car, came back, snatched that baby from somebody, because apparently you didn't want that child. So leave that child with one of the witnesses who was taking care of that child. Take your ass on, continue driving to wherever you were going, since you were so angry about shampoo, which could have just been sopped up with a towel. You give the child a talking to. They have just been in the world for 1 freaking year. They don't know anything. They literally just learned to say no, stop, mama, daddy. And you're gonna throw her out the car because she tossed some shampoo? Are you freaking kidding me? You need to teach that child. Say no. When mommy says don't touch the shampoo, don't touch the shampoo. You know, they're old enough to understand no. You can discipline. That's not even something that's even spank worthy. You could discipline by saying, if you touch the shampoo again after mommy told you no, you're going to go in a timeout. Children don't like timeout. Well, children 1-year-old don't like timeout. When they get older, they don't care. That's something you could have done. You know, if you had too many anger issues to have children, again, as I say in my previous episode, you can give that child to somebody who wants the child. You can drop that child off anonymously at the firehouse, at the hospital. Like, so many different options you could have done before you got to the point of throwing that child out your car and them having gravel in their skin, and you're just at home chilling after you dropped her off in Opalaka. If you haven't noticed, I like saying Opalaka. That's a really cool word to say. But anyways, that is my rant, because I'm really pissed off. Tack on charges. I don't know. You know me, I usually like to say we need to find out if it's mental health, but I don't think it's mental health. I think this woman, you know, I was about to call her something else, has a freaking anger issues. I really think that's the case. And you just need to get your anger under control. You just need to get your anger under control. That's not an excuse. But the one thing I can't shake is, why did whoever she dropped her off with, why did they not take her to the hospital? That's just the one thing I can't shake. Anyways, what do y'all think about this episode? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You already know that I want to hear from you. And speaking of your thoughts, let's go through your comments from the last couple Florida Man Fridays. So this comment comes from the episode of the Florida man who was armed with pepper spray and a knife. Remember, the police were trying to stop him and he had mental health issues. He escaped from a clinic and they ended up having to shoot him because even though they were like tasering him and everything like that, he kept running like a horror movie. If you haven't heard that one, the case is in the show notes below. So click on that link and listen to that one. Christina Bobo says, I don't think the person should be charged because the police seem very much aware that this person is a true mental case. To my understanding, it's the prosecutor who brings the charges. So I'm assuming it's beyond the control of the police. Hopefully they can testify on his behalf and this person can get the help they need. I think that the charges could be politically motivated, you know? Protect the boys in blue. Tough on crime. Law and order. Thumping rhetoric is hot off the press these days. It's Florida. Who knows? Because if you remember in that episode, they knew he had mental health issues. They were trying to de-escalate the situation. Basically, the police were doing everything they were supposed to be doing. But then in the end, they charged him. They gave him 2 charges. I don't remember what it was. And then my thing was like, why are you charging him if you know he wasn't in his right mind? You charge people who know exactly what they're doing, not people who don't. It's like charging a 1-year-old for kicking a police officer in the shin, for instance. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. So that was what Christina Bobo said. Then in the Florida Man Friday, where I think it was the same episode, I can't remember. Anyway, a Florida man was praised by police because, remember, an intruder went into the house and shot his wife in the face. And then this dude got to stabbing and he ended up killing the intruder. If that is a different episode, the link will be in the show notes below. If it's the same episode, either way, the link will be in the show notes below if you missed that one. Christina Bobo said, the first story gave FAFO, fuck around and find out, a brand new meaning. Shout out to hubby defending his wife with a gardening knife. I originally thought you were going to say that it was a murder for hire and hubby killed the only witness, but the wife survived, so this is a happy ending for everyone except career criminal Miss Lindsay Glenn. Being a geriatric thug shows that he wasn't really good at his career choice. I guess he should have picked retirement sooner. I mean, he got retirement later, though. I'm sorry. You shouldn't be joking about somebody getting killed. But I mean, he did break into a house and shoot somebody in the face, so... But yeah, I can't imagine. How old was he? He was like in his 60s or something and still trying to rob houses and cars and do all kind of petty theft. Anyways, you can listen to that episode. Link is in the show notes below. Let me know your thoughts on this case, on the first case where this turned into murder, or on the second case where this woman was a complete butthole. Don't forget to join the Facebook group so you can go ahead and see the picture that infuriated me, and go ahead and join the Patreon if you want to see the ring cam footage of this woman snatching her child from this Good Samaritan. Telling you if it was me you were trying to snatch that child back from would be completely different. Anyway, that is all I have for you on this Florida Man Friday. Let me tell y'all a story. My whole week was screwed up because some stuff happened. This story was supposed to be recorded like the end of last week. That's what I've been doing, recording it ahead of time, trying to do that anyway, but everything was screwed up. I didn't get this recorded. So guess when this was recorded? This is being recorded like an hour before it's supposed to go out. Yeah, crazy Kai. Anyways, I needed to get your episode out. So whether it's recorded 5 minutes before it's supposed to go out, an hour before it's supposed to go out, your episode is going out. You hear? So that is all I have for you in this Florida Man Friday. If you want to be a supporter of Love and Murder, then head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. Become an exclusive lamb. Choose any tier you want, whether depending on the kind of bonus episodes you want. And that'll help Love and Murder be able to stay on the air because I'll be able to pay my bills. However, a free and easy way of helping out Love and Murder is by simply sharing this episode. So we have a saying here that says, share with everyone you know and everyone you don't. If you don't know that inside joke, go back to the beginning of even season 4 and just start listening and you'll get the inside joke. So we're going to share this through our text messages, our WhatsApp to all your friends and family, and then go ahead and share it on your social media. You can also go to my Instagram or my YouTube and just share clips to your Instagram, to whatever social media you usually use, TikTok, whatever, you can share clips there. That is a free and easy way of helping Love and Murder out. And like I said, like 2 times already, that's all I have for you. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.